Hello students, after the first lecture on column, now this is the second video which I am posting on column. In the first video, we saw the different terms of columns, terminologies of the column, related IS code clauses of the IS 456 clauses for the design of column. Now, in addition to those clauses, one more thing which we have not covered last time, so today we will cover this. Limit state of collapse for compression, clause 39 page number 70 of IS 456. And in addition to the assumptions given in clauses 38.1a to 38.1e for flexure, that means in the design of beam, already we have studied these clauses. So in addition to those clauses, additional two clauses are given here. The first one, the maximum compressive strain in concrete in axial compression is taken as 0.002, and second one, the maximum compressive strain at a highly compressed extreme fiber in the concrete subjected to axial compression and bending, and when there is no tension on the section shall be 0.0035 minus 0.75 times the strain at the least compressed extreme fiber. Now, based on these two assumptions, the equations are given for the design of column. Now, let's start with the first design, that is design of axial loaded short column. So, the ultimate axial compressive load resisted by column is given by P suffix U is equal to P suffix UC plus PVS. Now, what is this PUC? So, PUC is the ultimate load carried by concrete. So, C stands for concrete, and here PVS means S stands for steel. So, it is the ultimate load carried by steel. So, the ultimate axial compressive load resisted by column with zero eccentricity is given by, here it is important, zero eccentricity. So, how is that? So, it is nothing but PUZ is equal to 0.45 FCK into AC plus 0.75 FY into ASC. Well, so here AC means area of concrete and ASC means area of steel, of course longitudinal steel. So only 0.45% of the FCK we are using here and 75% of the steel strength we are using here. Now, but these two factors 0.45 and 0.75, these are to be used only when the column is with zero eccentricity. But the problem is the ideal condition of axial loading hardly exists and there is always certain errant eccentricity. Then what to do? Then according to IS code, we have to consider the clause of minimum eccentricity, that is clause 25.4. All the columns shall be designed for minimum eccentricity equal to the unsupported length of column divided by 500 plus lateral dimension divided by 30, subject to a minimum of 20 mm. So if we consider this clause for both the directions, Ex minimum and Ey minimum, so for Ex minimum it is that value must be greater of Lx by 500 plus d by 30 or 20 mm, and Ey minimum must be greater or equal to greater than L by 500 plus b by 30 or 20 mm. So of course here L means unsupported length and D means it is the dimension perpendicular to that respective axis. So this is the clause of minimum eccentricity. So when the minimum eccentricity as per this clause does not exceed 0.05 times the lateral dimension, the member may be designed by the following equation. Which equation? So this is the equation. Now what is the difference between this equation and the earlier equation? Okay. So here the value is 0.45 and 0.75, and in this equation the value is reduced to 0.4 and this 0.75 value is reduced to 0.67. So approximately this is the 11% reduction. Means what? Means if you are designing the column for minimum eccentricity, okay, so that means that minimum eccentricity does not exceed 0.05 times the lateral dimension, then you have to use this equation. But if it exceeds, then you have to design that axial loaded column for axial compression and uniaxial bending. That means you have to consider bending about one axis, and that bending is given by MU minimum is equal to PU into E minimum. So if it is X direction, then we'll write here EX minimum. If it is Y direction, that means MUY, then we will write here EY minimum. Yes. Now let's consider the equation for axial loaded column. So AG is equal to AC plus ASC. Now AG means gross cross-sectional area of the column. AC is the area of concrete and this is the area of steel. Now let's substitute here AC is equal to 0.4 FCK into AG, and here ASC 0.67 Fi minus 0.4 FCK. Now of course here AG is the total area and here ASC, that means when you substitute AG minus ASC, okay, so rearranging the terms, okay, we got this term. Now substitute percentage, instead of saying percentage, we'll say here steel ratio. So it is the area of longitudinal steel divided by gross cross-sectional area of the concrete. Now again the rearrange the terms. PV is equal to, again if we rearrange the terms, we'll get AG is equal to, that means gross cross-sectional area. So these different equations we'll use for the design of axial loaded column. Now let's start with one numerical. So design an RC column to carry an ultimate load of 1200 kN using M20 grade of concrete and Fe500 steel. Unsupported length is 4.2 meter and both ends are fixed. So this is the boundary condition. Assume that the minimum eccentricity is less than 0.05 times the lateral dimension. So this line is purposely given since we want to design this column as axial loaded column. Well, so first what we have to do? First we have to consider effective length. So since both ends are fixed, so what the table is given in IS 456, you just consider the condition, both ends are fixed. Real effective is given as 0.65 L and that value comes out to be 2730 mm. Now we'll assume certain percentage of steel. Of course, we know that minimum percentage of the steel is 0.8% and maximum percentage is 4%. In between, you have to assume. Okay. So let's assume some value as 1%. Normally, you can assume 1 to 1.5%. So the steel ratio is 0.01. Okay. So because this is ASC by AG and that is 0.01. Let's substitute the values. Now this is the basic equation. P is equal to 0.4 FCK into AC plus 0.67 FY into ASC. Okay. So again rearrange the terms. Okay. Because here AC is substituted as AG minus ASC and hence you can rearrange the terms, taken out ASC as common. Again rearrange the terms for PU. So this is the equation. Again rearrange the terms. AG is equal to, now since we know the value of PU, let's substitute here 1200. The value is in kilonewton, converted into Newton, so multiplied by 10 raised to 3. 0.4 FCK. So FCK is grade of concrete and that is 20. Here Fy is grade of steel and that is 500. Again, so put the value of FCK here and this is the P. P is the steel ratio and that is 0.01. Already we saw that. We solve this equation and we got here AG is equal to 106,477 mm square. Okay, so that is the required total gross cross-sectional area of the column. Now we have to decide the dimensions of the column. So which are the conditions to decide dimension of the column? The first one, design the column as a short column. Okay. Then what's the condition? That depth of the column must be greater than L effective by 12. So L effective is 2730 divided by 12. So it is 227.5 mm. Similarly, the same condition is also there for B. That means the width of the column. So width also must be greater than L effective divided by 12 and that is 227.5 mm. So let's consider 300 mm as one side. Then since we know total area, divide that width, will get depth here and second size we are getting as 354.9. Okay, and we can assume now size of the column as 300 by 380 mm. Okay, so this is the side which we have finalized. Now again let's find the area of longitudinal steel. Here, since we have considered already 1% of the longitudinal steel, directly we can consider 1% of 300 by 380. Okay, that also you will get, but that you will get little bit approximate. So instead of that, little bit exact calculations you can do by using this equation. Okay, so this equation already we saw earlier. Okay, substitute the values. Now in this equation, we know axial force, we know grade of concrete. Now in this case, we know gross cross-sectional area, and that is 300 by 380. What we don't know is now ASC, because we want exact value of ASC. So let's consider ASC as unknown and do the calculations. Find the value of ASC as 881 mm square. Of course, when you have to make sure that this value must be greater than minimum percentage of steel, and that is 0.8%. So let's use as 12 bars, and number of bars if you calculate, you get here 7.8. Obviously, we have to provide total number of bars as 8 bars. Now lateral ties. So using has 6 lateral ties. Now has 6, that means, see, what's the clause is saying that minimum is 6 mm and the 1/4 of maximum diameter of the bar. So here maximum diameter of the bar is 12 mm. Okay, so 1/4 means 3 mm or 6 mm, whichever is max, that means it is 6 mm. So according to IS code, the spacing of lateral ties shall be minimum of, first one, least lateral dimension, and that is 300 mm. Second one is 16 times the longitudinal bar diameter, so that is has 12, hence it is 192 mm, and third one is 300 mm. So whichever is minimum, so 192 mm is minimum. Okay, so we'll just reduce this value just to get the round up value, and we'll consider now provide has 6 about 190 mm center to center. Now let's see the arrangement of the bars. So we'll provide 4 main bars at 4 corners and remaining 4 bars at each center of each face. So do the dimensions here, okay? And now the arrangement of the lateral ties. So we have to remember that when distance between two longitudinal bars exceeds 75 mm, we need additional one tie. Now in this case, one master ring is provided along the periphery and the second diamond tie is provided, okay, to cover the remaining 4 bars, okay. And this is one arrangement. Otherwise the second arrangement also you can provide. So you can provide like this. That means either you provide such type of diamond ring or you provide such type of two hooks. That is also sufficient. Any arrangement which you are providing, okay, that is sufficient. Okay. Well, now these are the arrangement of lateral ties. Okay. So here we'll stop this lecture. In the next lecture, we'll see how to do the calculations for axial load. Thank you.